Welcome to this episode of the Obscurity of Maximum Security with Kara Phillip and, most importantly, Mike Johnson, as he tells us tales of his experience at Old Joliet Prison as a prison guard. And last episode, he was telling us about his 3 to 11 shift, and we heard some stories that were a little unique to that shift, and I bet there are a whole lot more. Are there?
Yeah. I was on 3 to 11 for about a year. And at that time, after a year, I had enough seniority, believe it or not, to be able to bump someone with less time than I had. And no, I didn't want to go to midnight shift. I wanted to go to day shift. But that's a whole nother story. Anyway, some other things that happened while I was on 3 to 11. I was working East Cell House, and I believe I was up on, I think it was 3 Gallery. And this kid, I call him a kid, I mean, you know, I was probably 27 at the time. He was probably about 18. But he come up to me and he said, hey, he goes, I'm scared. He says, my cellmate has a shank. And I said, okay. I said, well, look, we're going to be running chow. Just act normal. Go to chow. And, you know, I'm going to tell the lieutenant and then just let us handle it. But I said, just act like everything's okay. So we ran that whole gallery out to chow, and I had told the lieutenant. And so I went in the cell and I tossed it and I shook it down. And I found the shank. It was in the other guy's mattress, shoved in there. We used to roll the mattress, and then, you know, you'd hit it with your hand and you'd feel anything that was in there. And no, it's not like it's sticking up like that.
You're just jamming your
like
hands
like a pungy stick or something. No, it's like in there flat ways. And I went, oh, there it is. And I pulled it out.
What was it made out of?
It was a piece of scrap metal or something, and it was sharpened to a point. Not real thick, not real big.
Okay.
And but anyway, so I found it, and so okay, we run them back in from chow. So okay, 2 of them go back in the cell. We locked everybody up on the gallery. And so then we wanted to get the kid out of the cell.
Yeah.
So I went up to the cell and then, you know, doing my best acting, you know, I was like, hey, we're moving you right now. Pack your shit. Okay. And he's getting his stuff together.
Oh, okay.
You know, I key open the thing. He comes out and I shut it. And then he goes off the gallery. And then I said to the guy with the shank, and I said, and you pack your shit too. You're going to Seg. I found your shank in your mattress. You mother, you know. So anyway, took him to Seg, and then of course there's always paperwork. There's a shakedown slip, incident report, and a disciplinary ticket. And I heard that because of him having to have that shank, he wound up going to a maximum security prison instead of a medium security prison.
Oh.
So, you play, you pay, huh? Also, I wanted to mention that the sergeant of the East Cell House on 3 to 11 shift back then was great. And really knew how to run a house. And, I need a minute. He really knew how to run a house, and he ended up getting murdered.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
At a bar in Joliet.
Oh my God.
But I'm sure you can put all this together.
I'll edit appropriately. Oh my God.
Yeah. But anyway, he really knew how to run a house. And later, when I started running cell houses, I did everything that he showed me. He did. Okay. another thing that happened, we used to run showers, and the shower house was over by the shift commander's office. And there was also a single shower in the first cell and the last cell of every gallery. Well, in real cold weather, we had to shower them on the gallery. It took forever because I wanted to put 2 guys in there once with the shower head, sometimes 3. One shower head, and they'd be squawking about it. But anyway, in the nicer weather, we used to run everybody to the shower house, and sometimes things happen over there because that's the blind spot in the institution. No tower can see in there.
Yeah.
And
that's what since was burned in the fires?
Right, yeah.
Okay.
Right. So anyway, like I said, we'd run them over, and that was the easiest way to do it, was take them to the shower house and then run them all back. But like I said, really bad cold weather, we had to do it. And this was before the shower houses on the back of the east and
I was
going to
say there's showers there, but
back then,
that wasn't there yet.
No,
okay.
They weren't there yet. So, and also shaving. Now,
ooh,
yeah, we used to have disposable razors and a log book, and we'd hand the first guy the disposable razor, and this was before AIDS, and then the next guy would use the same razor.
Oh.
That's
so interesting.
Then,
that would never.
Well, when you get to the 4th or 5th guy, it was getting kind of dull.
Terrible. You don't want to be.
Yeah, right. So, but anyway, that's how we used to do the shaving. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about was towers. This one night, the planets must have either aligned or collided to have just about every screwy guy in the towers. This one particular night, I was in Tower 1, and everybody that was up there could do a different animal sound. And it sounded like a zoo. I mean, it's just, I used to do a horse, and I used to replicate the galloping. Back then, the radios were about this big, and 2/3 of it was a battery. And it had like a grill on it, so I'd be like with my fingers, and and then another guy did a pig, and everybody's doing over the radio, and then the captain would get on and start yelling at us for doing it, knock it off, and it was nighttime, and everybody was locked up, and but still, no sense of humor there. And then I had to shoot out of Tower 1. It was during the evening meal. They were feeding the evening meal. It was summertime, August of 85, I think. Yeah. And there were a lot of inmates that decided they weren't going to lock up. They came out of the old, and this was still the old dining room, which was Tower 1, used to overlook it. So they're coming out of the dining room, they're on the sidewalk, and they're refusing to go into the East Cell house because there were a couple of guys there calling shots, like they had juice or something, and they started going towards the lieutenant, and I fired a warning shot into the dirt, and then the guys that were standing out there turned around, they just started going back in the cell house. And the ringleaders, they took them to seg. And the rule of thumb about shooting is that if there's time, you fire a warning shot. If there's no time, you aim for center mass. And this is center mass right here. So anyway, that's pretty much my 3 to 11 stories.
In a nutshell. Thank you for joining us for this episode of The Obscurity of Maximum Security with Kara Phillip and, most importantly, Mike Johnson. Bye.
Bye.